Imagine ruling an empire, having immense power, yet facing insults daily not just from enemies, but from your own advisors, soldiers, and citizens. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, endured this constantly. One day a general mocked his philosophy, expecting an angry reaction. But Marcus simply smiled and said, "You are free to have your opinion." He understood that true power was not in silencing critics, but in mastering himself. Disrespect is inevitable. The world will not always be kind, but your mind can always be strong. The problem is not what happens to you, but how you interpret it. A stranger cutting in line, a co-worker undermining your efforts, a friend speaking behind your back, these are external events. Epictetus said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them." The moment you realize that disrespect only has power if you grant it importance, you become free. When insulted, people expect anger. They expect you to react, to fight back. But imagine their surprise when you simply pause, breathe, and offer nothing but silence or a calm response. Seneca warned that anger is not just a temporary evil, but a habit that grows stronger with indulgence. The ability to pause before reacting is an act of self-mastery, and in that pause, you reclaim your power. A true Stoic always looks inward first. When faced with disrespect, ask yourself, is there truth in what was said? If yes, learn from it. If not, discard it. Not all words are worth absorbing, and not all battles are worth fighting. Empathy, too, is a shield. Those who insult you may be acting out of their own suffering or ignorance. To see through their anger and recognize their struggle is an act of wisdom. It does not mean tolerating mistreatment, but it does mean refusing to let another's flaws disturb your peace. You are not what others say about you. You are what you choose to be. The real battle is not with them, but within yourself. Win that battle and you win your freedom. Disrespect will find us no matter how righteous, kind, or strong we are. It lurks in the words of a stranger, the betrayal of a friend, the proud indifference of the world. But suffering, that is our choice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. No insult, no slight, no act of cruelty can harm us unless we allow it to. The fire of another's disrespect can only burn if we choose to stand in its flames. We live in a world where offense is currency, where outrage spreads like wildfire. A single comment online, a moment of rudeness in traffic, an unfair judgment at work, suddenly emotions rise and we surrender our peace to things beyond our control. But what if we didn't? What if we chose to see these moments as nothing more than passing winds, incapable of shaking the fortress within? Epictetus reminds us, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. We are not puppets pulled by the strings of others' words. We decide whether to react or remain unmoved. Strength is not in retaliation, it is in indifference to the meaningless. The world will not stop testing us. People will not always be fair, nor will they always be kind. But their actions belong to them. Our peace belongs to us. And that is something we never have to surrender. The world moves as it pleases, unpredictable, indifferent to our desires. People will betray us, fate will test us, and life will unfold in ways we never expected. We can scream at the heavens, curse those who wrong us, or break under the weight of what we cannot control. Or we can master the one thing that has always been ours, our mind. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. The moment we understand this, we stop being prisoners of the world and become masters of ourselves. In today's world, we are bombarded with chaos news designed to provoke, opinions meant to offend, events that shake our sense of security. We watch, we react, we let ourselves be consumed by things beyond our grasp. But we were never meant to control these things. What is said about us, what is done to us, what fate delivers, these are mere shadows, empty and powerless unless we give them weight. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. How many nights have we lost over fears that never materialized? How much peace have we sacrificed to battles that existed only in our minds? The world will continue as it always has, cold, relentless, unbothered by our wishes. But within us there is a space untouchable by its chaos. If we hold that space, we hold everything, and nothing out there can ever truly break us. Anger rises like a flame, sudden, consuming, demanding to be fed. We feel slighted, insulted, wronged, and in that moment, nothing matters more than striking back, proving a point, defending our pride. But what happens when the fire burns out? What remains of our outburst? Regret, broken relationships, words we cannot take back. And for what? A moment of control handed over to an emotion that was always destined to fade. As Seneca warned, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. What seems unbearable now will be meaningless tomorrow if we allow it to pass. In today's world, everything pushes us toward reaction. A single message, a careless comment, an impatient driver, all these tiny sparks threaten to ignite us. And if we let them, they will. But emotions are nothing more than visitors, temporary guests in the house of the mind. We do not have to let them stay. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Every time we pause, every time we breathe instead of react, we reclaim that power. We must remind ourselves no emotion, no insult, no provocation is worth our inner peace. A storm may rage within for a moment, but storms always pass. And when they do, we will still be standing, untouched by the chaos that once threatened to consume us. That is true strength. That is true control. And that is something no one can take from us. When someone disrespects us, our first instinct is to take it personally. We feel attacked, belittled, judged. But what if their words, their actions, their cruelty had nothing to do with us? What if they were simply revealing who they are, not who we are? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When you see that, you will pity them rather than be astonished or angry. Their disrespect is a reflection of their own mind, their own struggles, their own lack of wisdom. It is not a measure of our worth. In a world driven by ego and insecurity, people project their own fears onto others. A cruel remark often comes from a place of pain. An insult is usually a cry for significance. Even betrayal is the act of someone lost within their own desires. But their battles are not ours to fight. Seneca once said, "A wise man is untouched by abuse, as a diamond is unbroken by a hammer." We do not shatter because someone attempts to break us. We do not lose value because someone fails to see it. The next time we face disrespect, we must ask ourselves, do we let their darkness consume us, or do we stand unmoved? Their words will fade, their actions will pass, but our strength remains. Because what they do is about them. Who we are is about us. When we are disrespected, the urge to respond is immediate. A sharp retort, a defensive stance, an angry glare, our instincts tell us to strike back. But what if before reacting we turned inward instead of outward? What if before confronting another we confronted ourselves? As Socrates said, "Let him that would move the world first move himself." The world provokes us, but we decide whether to be provoked. The moment between stimulus and response is where our true power lies. In an age of instant reactions, rapid-fire messages, impulsive tweets, heated exchanges, we rarely stop to ask the most important question: why am I reacting this way? Is it pride? Is it insecurity? Is it an old wound that has not healed? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. If there is truth in the criticism we face, we must acknowledge it. If there is none, we must let it pass, like wind through an open hand. A moment of self-examination can prevent a lifetime of regret. It can turn anger into wisdom, insult into growth. If we rule over ourselves, no one else can. Before we react, we must look within. The strongest warriors do not draw their swords at every slight. They master themselves first, because the greatest battles are fought within. Strength is not found in the loudest voice, the hardest strike, or the quickest retaliation. True strength is silent, unshaken, immovable. It is the ability to endure, to withstand insult, hardship, and injustice without breaking, without losing oneself. As Epictetus said, "He who is properly grounded in life does not sigh or weep for the things which happen, but endures them and remains steadfast." The world will test us, people will challenge us, and disrespect will come as surely as the changing seasons. But our resilience is not defined by what we suffer, it is defined by how we withstand it. In this modern age, endurance is rare. We are taught that every slight must be met with a reaction, every offense with outrage. We are told that suffering is weakness, that to endure is to surrender. But endurance is not submission, it is control. The one who can endure has already won, for they refuse to be ruled by pain, by anger, by external forces beyond their command. As Seneca observed, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Every moment of endurance is a sharpening of the soul, a strengthening of the will, a step toward mastery over oneself. Let them speak, let them act, let them test us. We will not bend, we will not shatter. We will endure not because it is easy, but because it is the mark of the strongest among us. No one can take from us what they did not give. Our worth is not measured by the opinions of others, nor is it determined by their praise or their scorn. Yet we live in a world that teaches us otherwise, a world where validation is currency, where the voices of strangers dictate how we see ourselves. But as Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Why do we let the fleeting judgments of others define something as permanent as our own value? When we allow others to dictate our worth, we surrender control. We become puppets to their perceptions, reacting to their approval and their rejection as if either could change what we truly are. But worth is not given, nor is it taken. It is realized. It is built from within, through our actions, our virtues, and our unwavering commitment to what we believe in. Epictetus reminds us, whoever values peace of mind and the health of the soul will live the best of all possible lives. Not the one who is praised, not the one who is admired, but the one who knows themselves deeply, who stands unshaken in the face of judgment. Let them speak. Let them assume, criticize, misunderstand. It does not matter. We do not belong to them, we belong to ourselves. And in that, we are untouchable. Before we allow anger to rise, before we let resentment take hold, we must ask ourselves, do we truly understand? The one who disrespects, the one who wounds us with words or actions, what burdens do they carry? What unseen struggles shape their cruelty? It is easy to react, to meet fire with fire, but true strength lies in restraint, in the willingness to see beyond the surface. As Seneca said, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? We are all flawed, all bound by human imperfection. Who among us has not spoken in anger, acted in ignorance, or let our own pain spill onto others? In the modern world, we rush to judge, to condemn, to label another as an enemy. But understanding is a weapon far greater than any retaliation. It disarms hostility, replaces conflict with clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, whenever someone has done wrong to you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. People act as they believe they must. And if they are wrong, is it not wiser to pity them than to hate them? Let us not be prisoners to our first impulses. Let us practice empathy not as weakness, but as power. To understand before reacting is to master oneself, and in mastering ourselves we rise above. There is a hidden strength in laughter, a power that many overlook. When faced with disrespect, we have two choices. We can let it weigh us down, or we can rise above it. And sometimes the surest way to rise is with a smirk, a well-placed jest, a refusal to take the insult seriously. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. A clever mind does not crumble under the weight of another's scorn, it bends. It deflects, it turns the moment into something lighter than it was meant to be. In a world that thrives on conflict, where every slight can turn into a battle, humor becomes a shield. It robs the insult of its power, reducing it to nothing more than empty words. Imagine someone hurling an insult, expecting anger, expecting pain, and instead, they are met with a smile, with a response so unexpected that it disarms them completely. That is strength. That is control. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. We do not have to be prisoners of offense. We do not have to meet bitterness with bitterness. There is wisdom in lightness, in refusing to be dragged down. Let them sneer. Let them mock. We will rise, untouched, undefeated, smiling at the absurdity of it all. Strength is not found in raised voices or clenched fists. True strength, the kind that lasts, is quiet. It does not beg for recognition, nor does it crumble under pressure. It stands firm, unshaken, like a mountain against the wind. When we face disrespect, we are not obligated to tolerate it, nor are we required to meet it with rage. Instead, we set boundaries not through aggression, but through unwavering resolve. As Seneca said, brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war. Strength is knowing when to say, "This is where I stand, and I will not be moved." In the modern world, we are often pressured to either endure mistreatment in silence or retaliate with force. But there is another way, a way of calm defiance, a way of dignity. We do not have to lower ourselves to the level of those who disrespect us. Instead, we let our actions speak. We step away from what does not serve us. We make clear what we will and will not accept. And we do so with composure. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And so we do not complain about mistreatment, we rise above it. We show through quiet action that we respect ourselves enough to demand better, not with anger, not with chaos, but with the unshakable strength of a mind that knows its own worth. Forgiveness is not a gift we give to those who have wronged us, it is a liberation we grant ourselves. We hold on to anger as if it protects us, as if our resentment will somehow balance the scales. But it does not. It only chains us to the past, keeping the wound open, allowing the pain to dictate our present. Epictetus once said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. When we refuse to forgive, we give power to those who have harmed us, allowing them to live in our thoughts, shaping our emotions long after the moment has passed. The modern world thrives on grudges. We are told that to forgive is to be weak, that it means excusing wrongdoing. But true forgiveness is not surrender, it is an act of strength. It does not mean forgetting. It does not mean allowing the same harm again. It means releasing the grip that anger has on us, refusing to let it poison our lives. It is a quiet decision to be free. Seneca reminds us, to be angry is to revenge the faults of others upon ourselves. Why should we suffer for the actions of those who have already shown us their character? Why should we carry their burden as if it were our own? We choose to let go, not for them, but for ourselves. Because peace is not found in vengeance, it is found in mastery over our own hearts. We fight against the inevitable as if our resistance will alter the course of fate. We cling to what we cannot change, demanding that life obey our will, and in doing so we make ourselves suffer. But the world does not yield to our wishes. It moves as it always has, indifferent to our expectations. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. There is no power in rage against the uncontrollable. There is only power in how we respond. The modern world teaches us to believe we can shape everything: our image, our future, even the behavior of others. But how much is truly in our hands? We cannot force respect from those who refuse to give it. We cannot stop the tides of misfortune. We cannot escape loss, betrayal, or the inevitability of time. To deny this is to live in frustration. To accept it is to live in peace. Epictetus tells us, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy. This is not passivity. This is strength, the ability to face life as it is, rather than as we demand it to be. We do not waste ourselves on what is beyond us. We focus on what is within us. That is where our power lies.